YouTube fam, we back outside with it. Another episode of Marv's Room. Yours truly, Marv. Thank you guys as always for joining me. To the new subscribers, welcome to the channel. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. We subscribing out here in these streets. We learning out here in these streets. We ain't for the streets, but we learning out here in these streets. You feel me? But I wanted to hop on here today, man, talk to you guys about being ghosted, man, because there ain't nothing funny about being ghosted. You know what I mean? When I talk about being ghosted, I ain't talking about Casper, because ain't nothing friendly. If you've been ghosted before, you know ain't nothing friendly about being ghosted, and I know firsthand about being ghosted. So I wanted to tell you guys this story today because I was working with a client of mine about 2 weeks ago, something like that, and we had started working, I want to say earlier this year. And she contacted me. She had a specific person, obviously, was ghosted for quite some time in her mind, quite some time. For those who've been studying, and following me for a while, you guys know that I don't believe in, I look at time way differently than most people. So what's a long time to other people is not necessarily a long time to me, but I digress. So we were working together at the beginning of the year, and I told her what to do. I came up with a game plan for her, got some information about her background, and kind of put together a piece of plan for her in specific, because as you guys know, there's no one size fits all to this law of attraction stuff that I always teach. There's no one size fits all that, everybody's approach has to be different. You have to tailor it accordingly to whoever is going through what at that given time. So I came up with something for her, and she was able to manifest her SP back, and right now, currently today, she's probably been with her specific person for about, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. But I'm making this video to let you guys understand and know this video will coincide with the other video that I made about once your SP comes back, you will be tested. And this is living proof, of being tested with your specific person, because the reason she contacted me was because she was feeling uneasy. She was feeling unsettled with what was going on in her relationship, because she ended up getting back in a relationship with her specific person, and they've been together for, like I said, maybe about a month now, which is good news. I'm glad that she did the steps that I told her to do, because a lot of times people, they do coaching or they do this and that, but they don't really follow through with the steps that they're being taught, and so that can delay the process, or they try to reinvent what their coach might have said, or whatever the case may be, or they think there's a faster way, or they watched another YouTube video and they wanted to do it this way instead of that way. But I'm like I said, I'm letting you guys know, man, that this stuff is 100% real. Like, when you guys get your SP back, that's when the ultimate test starts. That's when the ultimate test happens. You know what I mean? So she was able to get her SP back about a month ago, and they're in a relationship right now. However, she's going through the motions of not feeling first best, of not feeling loved, of not feeling wanted, and so she's asking me, like, what do I do? Because I want to get back to that point of where we were contacting each other all the time, and texting each other and asking each other how our day was, etc., different things like that. And and I simply told her, I said, you got to look at your belief level. You got to look at your level of caring, because there's different levels of caring. You got to look at how you were caring versus when you were single, and the work that you were doing when you were single, versus how much you care now that you're back in your relationship with your SP, and the work that you're currently doing with your SP. Because again, those are two different things. The level that you cared at when you were single and the work that you were doing when you were single is different than when you get back together with your SP. So now you probably care a lot more. Now you're probably worried a lot more. Now you're probably stressed a lot more. But at the same time, I guarantee you're probably not doing the work or staying up on the self-concept work like you should. This stuff is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And a lot of people, once they get what they want, once they get their SP back, they stop doing self-concept work. They fall back into old habits. And they realize a lot of times as well that they never really healed or got over that insecurity of being ghosted, or if there was a traumatic time in their life at some point where they were ghosted, or maybe it was their first love that ghosted them, you know, or a situation like that, and they never really revised the situation, because as Neville always talks about, the unrevised scenes of the past are the cause of all sin. So you keep replaying times in your head that you got ghosted. You keep thinking about those times in your head that you got ghosted. So when you finally get back together with your SP and your SP is not responding the way you want them to respond, the first place, if you don't heal, the first place your mind goes to is, oh man, my SP is going to ghost me like they did a year ago. Oh man, my SP is gonna ghost me like they did when I was in high school, or like they did when I was in college. Or my SP is gonna ghost me like my dad ghosted, you know, me and my mom, or me or my family when we were younger. You know, this is why it's so important to go back and revise all of that stuff, man. Like, I know you guys want this Band-Aid manifestation. You guys want this microwave manifestation stuff. You know, I say this all the time for y'all been following me. Put your manifestation in the microwave and press 30. Don't work like that for most people. It just doesn't, because there's too much underneath. There's too many layers. It's like I always say, and as my friend Agnes always says, it's like icing a rotten cake. You better not eat that rotten cake. I know that cake looks good on the outside, but all you did was take icing and put it over a cake that was moldy and old. You know, it wasn't even organic. It got a bunch of chemicals in it, red 40 and blue 1, and all these names you can't pronounce. And it's been sitting in the fridge for like a year, and then you put in, or in your case, your wounds have been sitting inside of you for 20 years, 15 years, and you trying to just put icing over it and call it a dessert. Ain't nobody eating that shit. It don't work like that. You know what I mean? You might eat it, but ain't nobody else gonna eat that shit. And also too, I want you guys to understand something. You guys cannot, I don't care who you are, yo. You can lie to other people, okay? You can lie to yourself, but the one entity you cannot lie to is the universe. You cannot lie to the universe. I don't care who you are. The universe made you. The universe feels you. The universe feels your every thought, vibration, except it knows you better than you know yourself. It's no different than when a parent gives birth to a child, and a child always wants to figure out to the parent, like, oh, how do you know that I'm lying? You know how when parents always seem to know when their kid is lying about something, and the kid can never figure out how they know that their parent is lying? It's because that parent gave birth to you. That parent grew up and raised you and watched you, and it knows when you're being truthful about something. It might be a look in your eye. It might be a little twitch that you're doing. You might not have no idea about why you do certain things or how you do certain things, but your parents that pay attention to you and raise you, they know when you're lying to them. A lot of times, you know what I'm saying? If not all the time. And the universe is no different. So a lot of you guys, I realize, you guys are lying to other people. You guys are also lying to yourself, you know, what you can do, but you cannot lie to the universe. And the universe is always going to give you, you know, the frequency that you're in. It's always going to produce the results that you are currently in alignment with. You know what I mean? So this is why I always stress to people, stop trying to, you know, skip the process. Stop trying to do the self-concept work. Stop trying to just affirm, you know, my SP is thinking about me, because that's not going to work 9 times out of 10. It can work for some people, but if you've been ghosted, or if you keep getting ghosted and you feel like that story keeps replaying over and over again, then most likely you have some serious work that you got to do from your past to get rid of that fear of abandonment, that fear of being ghosted. Because if you don't, you try to just cover it up with an affirmation, guess what's going to happen? The next person you meet is probably going to ghost you. And then the person after that is probably going to ghost you. Until you realize you are the problem and you need to change, you're just going to keep getting ghosted like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Period, point blank. And I don't want you guys to be ghosted. I want you guys to get what you want. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to hop on here and kind of give you this case study of what I talked about with one of my clients a couple weeks ago, because like I said, the good news is she got back with her SP. But the bad news is now, you know, she's feeling unsettled. She's feeling uneasy because, you know, the communication and the context and different things isn't there like it used to be. And it's going to be that way in the beginning a lot of times. It will be that way in the beginning for a long period of time, potentially, until you realize it all starts and ends with you. It has nothing to do with your specific person. They're just a reflection of your thoughts and emotions about them, about the situation, etc., etc. They're going to show up in your experience, how you feel and how you see them showing up in your experience. You know what I mean? And again, this is a mistake that I made with my specific person a couple times. And even I made it a couple times. I even made this mistake a couple times after I manifested an SP back, a couple years after I manifested her back. Because as you guys know, I manifested SP in 2018. Not anything crazy, like not to get back into a relationship or anything like that, but I manifested her back. But then a couple years after I manifested her back in like 2020, 2021, some things happened, and it's like, oh damn, I manifested different things, which I'll make another video about. That might be the next video that I make, explaining some of the mistakes that I made after the fact. But I learned from those mistakes, you know what I'm saying, and realized that I'm a different person, and I leveled up mentally and emotionally because I get over a lot of things that happen a lot quicker. It's almost to the point to where it doesn't even faze me anymore. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of stage level you want to get to, because I was able to, when I was in a situation with the SP a couple years ago, I was able to get out of that situation, reverse the situation happening in literally less than 30 days. And like I said, I might make my next video explaining to you guys exactly what happened in that situation. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to hop on here real quick, man, and kind of talk to you guys about, you know, if you're constantly being ghosted, why this is occurring and how to fix it. You know what I mean? And obviously, every situation is different, so that depends on your situation in particular. You know, and working with me, I would be able to point out, you know, exactly why this keeps happening or what you may need to do, because I like to really dive deep, and when I'm working with people one-on-one, to figure out, okay, how can we stop this from happening for good? Not just cover it up with a Band-Aid, but how can we surgically repair this the right way, so you can heal the right way and get what you want. But all right, guys, that's been another video, another episode of yours truly, Marv's Room. I hope to see you guys back once again. Spread the word. Yo, we need 100,000 subscribers, yo. I don't care what nobody say, man. I need 100,000. I need 100,000. Why I'm not at 100,000? Get me to 100,000, please. Humbly, respectfully, yours truly.